Star City News.
The Lincoln City Council approved the rail yard expansion into Canopy Street for the Purdue-Nebraska game.
There has been another 2 deaths caused by the West Nile virus in Douglas County, bringing the virus-related deaths to 6.
Nebraska Task Force 1 is heading home today, but chicken prices are expected to rise after 1.7 million of the birds drowned in the flooding.
These stories and more right now on Star City News.
Good evening and welcome to Star City News. I'm Alec Chisholm.
And I'm Erin Hunter. For this year's homecoming game, Huskers will have more room to party downtown at the rail yard. This week, the Lincoln City Council approved the expansion onto Canopy Street, but there is some controversy. Star City reporter Braylee Gilbert is standing by in the live newsroom. Braylee.
Thanks, Aaron. Yes, that's right. The Lincoln Police Chief said that with the City Council passing this vote, it will put pressure on their manpower. Lincoln City Council voted 4-3 last night on the expansion of the rail yard into Canopy Street. This will take place for the Purdue game on September 29th. Lincoln's police chief, Jeff Bleimeister, shared his concerns on what the expansion would mean for his police force.
The overwhelming concern that has been presented to you on behalf of the Lincoln Police Department and remains today is, do we have an ability to provide the necessary staffing with the expansion of an SDL onto Canopy Street to ensure that the rail yard is safe and secure for all of those that want to attend.
Bleimeister also raises the concerns of being able to man 4 more officers on top of the 2 officers who already patrol the rail yard on game days.
The combination of on-duty and off-duty resources that are allotted to a particular game day are tasking to those that are asked to work those assignments. And it takes up a very large percentage of our commissioned workforce.
I spoke with Brian Kodrensky, the general manager for the rail yard, on what he expects from this expansion, as well as security.
We've definitely gotten to a point where we've had to, cut back on people coming into the rail yard because we've gotten to capacity. We're expecting to increase the crowd by about, I would say at most 50%. We will have to have more LPD officer staff simply because we will be operating an SDL.
With Star City News, I'm Braylee Gilbert.
Thanks, Braylee. The death toll in Nebraska from West Nile continues to rise. 6 have died from the illness in the state this year, more than any other state in the U.S. I talked to some experts who are urging people now to protect themselves.
People that do seem to suffer pretty greatly, so I think it is a serious illness and it's something that you want to protect yourself against.
A surge in West Nile virus cases has experts like Dr. Jody Green concerned. The urban entomologist says above-average rainfall and heat has led to an extremely high number of mosquitoes, putting Nebraskans at a higher risk to contract the disease.
We've got football, we've got soccer games, there's a lot of activities going on outside. It's the best time of year for mosquitoes, August, September in Nebraska.
Tim Timmons with the Lancaster County Health Department says mosquitoes are the only way humans can contract the illness. With no cure, he says the best medicine is prevention.
Wear long sleeve shirts, cover your exposed skin. If you can't cover your exposed skin, use a mosquito repellent.
Green and Timmons say other ways to reduce the risk is to remove standing water from near your home. Bird baths, gutters, and even potted plants can be breeding grounds for the pests. Mosquitoes are most active at dusk and will stick around until the first frost of the winter, which may not come until mid-October. For Star City News, I'm Alec Chisholm reporting.
Today, there are more details on a star Iowa State golfer who was murdered in Ames on Monday. CNN reporter Todd Mangle has more on the story.
I always wanted to win a tournament for Iowa State.
Celia Barquina Rosamena was a beloved champion Iowa State golfer who died on the very golf course where she recorded this interview just 4 months ago. Police say this homeless man, 22-year-old Colin Daniel Richards, stabbed her several times. He left her to die near the 9th hole late Monday morning.
She had been stabbed in the upper torso, head, and neck.
Richards appeared in Story County District Court. He's charged with first-degree murder and is being held on a $5 million bond.
Who had made statements about having an urge to rape and kill women.
Police found a tent Richards was living in. Eventually, they found him walking in a neighborhood near the golf course. He was covered in scratches. Police say there is no known connection between Richards and Rosamena. It appears she was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It's an awful thing that's happened.
Well, things continue to be very hot here in Lincoln, but the weather might be changing soon. Scott, what is our weather outlook looking like at this point?
Well, guys, we could be seeing some thunderstorms here shortly. Let's take a look at that weather radar. As you can see, there's going to be two lines coming here. This first one, a little small to intermediate. What we need to worry about is this second line of potential storms that will be coming through Lincoln around 8 to 8:30 tonight. So if you're out and traveling, please stay safe. Much more is coming later in the show.
All right, thanks, Scott. Aubrey Trail, the man accused of killing 24-year-old Lincoln resident Sidney Loof back in November of 2017, appeared in Saline County Court Thursday afternoon. According to court records, a judge set the trial date for Trail at the hearing, and that trial will begin June 17th of next year. Prosecutors say if Trail is convicted, they will seek the death penalty.
Lincoln Calling, a non-profit music festival that drew over 8,000 people last year, is back for its 15th anniversary. People are making their way out to the Telegraph District this week, where the kickoff festival for Lincoln Calling is being held. Green Splash Brewery and All Out Aloe teamed up to create a beer called Gig City. Over 80 bands will be playing all weekend for this event at multiple different venues, including the Zoo, Duffy's, the Bourbon Theater, and more. You can enjoy the great food and the great atmosphere in your capital city until the 23rd.
All right, well, still to come on Star City News.
We'll look ahead to the upcoming road trip for the Husker football team as they travel to Michigan for Saturday's game.
But first, we'll tell you about a big change coming to one of the deadliest roads in the state.
All that and more coming up on Star City News.
Live from the Anderson Hall Broadcast Studios in the College of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, this is Star City News.
Since 1990, the Mary Ritma Ross Media Arts Center has served the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with independent film from across the country. With live theater broadcasts, Q&A sessions, and local film festivals, the Ross offers exclusive events year-round. So drop in, grab some popcorn, and watch some of the finest comedies, documentaries, or thrillers. For any movie genre you prefer, the Ross has got it covered.
There's lots to see and do at the University of Nebraska State Museum. Be sure to visit our new temporary exhibit, The Museum Builders, which explores the history that led to the building of the University of Nebraska State Museum. Accompanying this is also an escape room, which features the history of fossil collecting in Nebraska. For more info, visit museum.unl.edu.
At the Nebraska History Museum, there's over 12,000 years of history under one roof. Learn about Nebraska before it became a state, what it was like to live in Nebraska during the early years of statehood, and even see unique artifacts only on display at the Nebraska History Museum. The Nebraska History Museum is open until 5:30 Monday through Saturday and is free for everyone. With ever-rotating exhibits, you'll never run out of history to learn. Visit the Nebraska History Museum at 131 Centennial Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska today.
Welcome back to Star City News. I'm Alec Chisholm.
And I'm Erin Hunter. The Lancaster County engineer has reduced the speed limit on Sawtiller Road. 6 people have died on this road since 2011, making it Lancaster County's deadliest roadway. Standing by live in the newsroom is Star City's Matt Jensen. A couple days ago, Matt talked to the grandfather of one of the victims. Matt, what did he have to say?
That's right, guys. The other day I had the chance to talk to Dave Titterington, the grandfather of Brianna Titterington, who says if the speed limit reductions would have been in place then, things may have been different.
When they investigated my granddaughter's accident, they had her right down to the seconds. So a 5-mile reduction, or maybe even a 10-mile-an-hour reduction down to 45 mile an hour, if that had been in place, that might have been that 1 or 2 seconds that would have helped Brianna survive this accident.
Though the speed limit reduction is a good thing, Titterington, who has lived along Saltillo Road, says the road hasn't changed in 40 years, and that changes to the road itself are in need.
They need to do a lot more, and like I say, right now they could start making some improvements with some signage, updated signage, they could put some butterflies around the intersections like at 40th, like at 54th, like at 70th, so that people can get around turning vehicles. That in and of itself could really help avoid a serious rear-end accident.
Lancaster County engineer Pam Dingman says that more changes like the ones Titterington mentioned will begin taking place in 2020.
We are in the process of doing a safety project on Saltillo in partnership with the Nebraska Department of Transportation. They've given us a grant for $8.5 million to do safety improvements for the Saltillo corridor from 27th Street to 70th Street. We're going to look at a number of things, intersection improvements, as well as improvements to the roadway.
Titterington says he is happy to hear changes are on the way, but says small changes like more signs need to happen before the 2020 project is started.
I still have grandchildren out there. Brianna has 5 siblings out there, and they've almost been struck from behind trying to make a left-hand turn on 54th Street. I think that those are small issues they can take care of now until the bigger picture of redoing the entire road.
The new speed limit signs are up on the road, but it is ultimately up to the drivers to be responsible and follow the new speed limit. For Star City News, I'm Matt Jensen reporting.
Thanks, Matt. Tonight, police say they are still looking for the man that robbed a Payless shoe store on 27th and Superior. The worker inside at the time told LPD a black male standing about 6 feet tall and wearing a blue hoodie approached her and demanded money. Star City's Jessica Chamberlain stopped by at the store this afternoon to learn more.
She was working alone when she observed a black male enter the store.
The robber proceeded to follow the worker around. It was then that she began to get suspicious of his reasons for being there.
At that time, she then went to the front of the store, actually pushed the emergency alarm to alert authorities.
She was then approached by the man. He told her to put the money and change, excluding the pennies, in a plastic bag.
He then left running from the store southwest direction on Superior.
There were some witnesses who observed the man running from the area.
However, they were unable to locate him.
The store has since closed until further notice. For Star City News, I'm Jessica Chamberlain reporting.
Well, we can hardly escape it. Husker Athletics is preparing for another busy weekend against another top-notch opponent.
That's right. Nebraska is gearing up for Big Ten Conference play that begins on Friday night.
Star City's Grace Harmon takes an early look at sports. Grace?
Thanks, Erin. Well, I can almost hear the howls from Nebraska. Today in sports, we'll take a look at the Michigan Wolverines as they match up with the Huskers this week in not one, but 2 Big Ten Conference openers. We'll also hear from Nebraska head coach Scott Frost and find out what players to watch out for when the Huskers head to Ann Arbor on Saturday. And don't worry, we'll also give you all the details in tonight's Thursday night football game between the Browns and the Jets. All that and maybe even a little bit more coming up soon on Star City News Sports.
Thanks, Grace. As of today, there are at least 36 people dead in the wake of Hurricane Florence, and the worst isn't over. Flooding is expected to worsen over the next couple days. The Category 2 storm has also devastated livestock in the Carolinas. CNN reporter Andrea Blanford has more.
When hog farmers Jacob and Candace Morgan finally found a way around flooded roads getting back to their home in Jones County, they saw it for themselves.
Our community is shattered.
Homes underwater, roads washed out, floodwater on their farm that they bought just last year. What could have been the fate of their hogs evident.
They would have died. I mean, they would have drowned, no question.
But under mandatory evacuation, the Morgans left town, first taking their livestock to higher ground on a neighboring farm. Theirs all survived, as their fellow farmers took a tremendous blow. The Department of Agriculture reporting the loss of 3.4 million chickens and turkeys and 5,500 hogs killed. Higher losses than when Hurricane Matthew hit 2 years ago.
Livestock farmers and the row crop farmers in particular, that's their livelihood.
Andrea Blanford, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Well, unless they're the kind you can hit a baseball with, Animal Control says don't pick up any bats that you may find in your house. We've seen a 300% increase in bats testing positive for rabies this year, and our own Jessica Chamberlain has more on this story.
Increased concern has taken over Lincoln as 11 bats so far have been found positive for rabies.
This is the highest year we've ever had for the number of positive bats.
Bats are everywhere. Doesn't matter. They're everywhere.
What we're looking at here is a small brown bat.
The brown bat is the most commonly found species in Nebraska, but if you do encounter one, the key is to stay calm.
The first step is not to shoo the bat out of the house.
It can be a frightening moment trying to figure out what to do next.
Rick Alloway, a College of Journalism and Mass Communications professor, had a personal encounter with one just a few years ago.
It was dark downtown, and I felt something glance off the top of my head. It was like somebody had taken an X-Acto knife and made two little parallel cuts right on the top of my head.
If you feel you've been bitten by one, you should call animal control immediately and follow up with your doctor.
The key health issue is to make a determination as to whether or not a person or a person's pet had any exposure to a bat.
Now, the reason we're seeing so many this year could have something to do with the weather.
If we have a good population of bugs, obviously we're going to have a good reproduction of bats. And that's what we've had in the last couple of years. The bat population has seemed to climb.
The Lincoln Department of Health encourages you to call them first at 402-441-7900 if you encounter one. For Star City News, I'm Jessica Chamberlain reporting.
Well, the heat is beginning to cool off here in Lincoln with potential storms on the horizon. Scott, with all this fluctuating weather, what should we be expecting tonight and throughout the rest of the week?
Yeah, Aaron, we've had beautiful weather all week long, and even right now, 89 degrees, but we do have a chance for thunderstorms later tonight as we are under a thunderstorm watch, but that should clear up tomorrow, and by the weekend, we will have the sun once again, so stay tuned for your weekly weather forecast and a closer look at tonight's weather.
All right, thanks, Scott. Coming up on Star City News, we'll send it right back to him for a look at current radar.
You're watching Star City News.
We understand. Sometimes you need to stay late on campus. We also understand crime rates are higher at night. That's why UNL is taking care of their students by offering the Huskers Safe Walk. It's a free walk-in escort service that can be requested at any time while on campus by calling 402-472-2222. Call 402-472-2222 if you feel unsafe or would like to request a Huskers Safe Walk.
Libraries are more than just books. The Bennett Martin Public Library is a place for the whole community to take a break and read, or use technology. It's especially a place for our children to play, learn, and read. We offer spaces that help children learn to read and then love to read. Family story times and summer reading programs help establish the reading habit. Please support libraries as they help children grow into lifelong readers and learners. For more information, please visit lincolnlibraries.org.
The Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, where you can find your next baby girl, your next Aaron, or your next furry animal companion. Each adoption comes with spaying or neutering, microchip registration, and a health exam that is included in adoption fees. So stop by the Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, located at 70th and Highway 2, to find your next furry friend.
Well, if you guys have rain jackets, you might want to break them out tonight because we've had beautiful weather all throughout the day, 89 degrees right now, but the biggest problem is we have 2 thunderstorms on the way, and let's take a look at that weather radar. As you can see, we have 2 lines of storms coming, one that's a little bit smaller, but it's that second line of potential storms that's coming Lincoln's way around 8:15 to 8:30 tonight. Now let's take a look at that 5-day forecast. Friday, things will cool off with a high of 68 degrees and some clouds for most of the day. On Saturday and Sunday, that Orphan Annie will be singing because the sun is coming out, and the high of 72 on Saturday and 77 on Sunday. Monday will be hot as well with degrees up to 80. But the rain is coming back on Tuesday. Now let's take a peek at that 7-day forecast. On Wednesday, expect some sun, and those clouds aren't going to be present, but the temperatures are starting to drop. 67 degrees for Wednesday, and on Thursday, 66 degrees. Alec, you and I have been talking. You really wanted to wear that new rain jacket of yours. You're going to get the chance tonight.
Tonight? Really? Oh, dude. If I get the chance tonight,
you better
The
watch
thunderstorms.
out.
I know.
Watch
And
out.
Aaron?
Hey,
I
it's
know
been
you-
hot one day, thunderstorms the next. I just can't keep up.
Well, with our luck, it'll be snowing by next week. So, guys, we'll see.
All right, thanks, Scott. Coming up next in Star City Sports, Grace Harmon takes a look at the Huskers' busy weekend schedule and what to expect.
Located at Henslick Hall is UNL's Pixel Lab. At the Pixel Lab, UNL students and faculty can take advantage of professional-grade print services. For major projects, normal printers simply will not do. They lack the sizes, materials, and resources the Pixel Lab can provide. Simply save your project as a PDF and head over to Henslick Hall. You're important, and so is your work. Open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 o'clock, the Pixel Lab team is staffed with helpful employees ready to assist you. For your next project, be sure to stop by the Pixel Lab.
For over 28 years, the Lincoln Children's Museum has been creating playtime for thousands of kids and their families. Children can create, discover, and learn through the power of play. The Lincoln Children's Museum also offers several programs and camps throughout the year. Located in the heart of downtown on P Street. Come have fun at the Lincoln Children's Museum.
Established in 1978, KZUM has been the voice of the Lincoln community for more than 40 years.
From humble 10-watt beginnings to streaming worldwide, this nonprofit radio station provides talk, news, and music programming of all genres.
KZUM has over 90 volunteer programmers, giving a voice to the Lincoln community.
To learn how you can program your own show, visit kzum.org.
Like us on Facebook to keep up with the upcoming events of many kinds.
Thousands of Nebraskans face homelessness every year. The most requested items at homeless shelters are socks. But a group of Lincoln skateboarders are working to change that. Skate for Change is a program dedicated to taking action by combining skateboarding and outreach. Through Skate for Change, young skaters have the opportunity to give back to their community. Whether it's cleaning parks or delivering socks and hygiene kits to the homeless, Skate for Change is here to empower individuals to become positive influences. Join the cause at skateforchange.org.
Well, Scott Frost and the Nebraska football team will get their 12th game after all. It was just announced earlier today that the Huskers will be hosting Bethune-Cookman on October 27th. The game means that the Huskers will forego their bye week in favor of playing a full schedule. Bethune-Cookman is a historically black university in Alabama. The Wildcats will travel to Lincoln to play an 11 a.m. game in Memorial Stadium. Well, guys, you might see a lot of a certain team in the next couple of days, and I'm not just talking about the Huskers. The Michigan Wolverines face off against your home teams on both the court and the field over the weekend, kicking off conference play for both schools. First on Friday, after losing its first game of the season against Florida, the young Nebraska team bounced back strong and is currently on an 8-game winning streak going into conference play. But they're not the only team on a roll. Michigan enters its matchup against the Huskers with 11 wins under its belt, good for an undefeated record this season. The Wolverines have dominated their opponents so far this year, winning in 3 sets in all but one match against Notre Dame last weekend. While Michigan is the visiting team this weekend, last year it was the Huskers who traveled to Ann Arbor, which ended in a 3-0 win for the eventual national champions. Well, the Huskers will take the court Friday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and the game will be broadcast on the Big Ten Network. Well, Friday night isn't the last you'll see of Michigan. Husker fans get a double dose of the Big Ten opponent as the football team also travels to Ann Arbor for an 11 a.m. kick on Saturday morning. Coming into its face-off with the Huskers, the Wolverines open as an 18-point favorite over the struggling 0-2 team. Scott Frost and company are coming off losses to Colorado and Troy, while the Wolverines hold a 2-1 record, with their most recent wins coming against Western Michigan and SMU. Michigan is led up front by 2 defensive linemen who could give Nebraska's starting quarterback some trouble. Fifth-year senior Chase Winovich and junior Rashawn Gary have combined for 37 total tackles on the season and are the heart of the Wolverine defense. On Wednesday, NU quarterbacks coach Mario Verduzco spoke highly of their upcoming opponent.
Oh, they're so multiple, and they're disciplined, and they fly around, they play extremely hard.
Likewise, in his Thursday press conference, head coach Scott Frost was all business, but recognized the challenges Michigan presents.
He's got good players to work with, and they have good scheme. They take away just about everything easy that should be there and then make you earn it. They're going to play hard.
He said a starting quarterback will not be decided until game time, but that whoever it is will be facing a stout defense.
I'm sure if we're playing a young quarterback or a backup quarterback, they'll be coming over the walls on blitzes, so we have to be ready for all that.
Now, for anyone heading to Ann Arbor for the game this weekend, you're looking at a beautiful game day with temperatures right near 60 degrees at kickoff at 11 a.m. Now, if you can't quite wait until Saturday for football, don't worry, you're in luck. The New York Jets visit the Cleveland Browns tonight as both teams have a lot to prove, even at the start of the season. The Jets look to regain momentum after losing to the Miami Dolphins just last weekend. And Cleveland, on the other hand, is trying to earn their first win in 635 days. The Browns currently hold an 0-1-1 record on the season, coming away with a tie against the Steelers in Week 1 before losing its second game of the season to New Orleans on Sunday. The game kicks off tonight at 7:20 p.m. and can be seen on the NFL Network. The NBA is facing scrutiny after allegations of harassment and violence by male employees surfaced within the past year. Dallas Mavericks general manager Mark Cuban issued a public apology on Thursday evening, saying he didn't pay close enough attention to the business culture within the franchise.
With the pain that people shared with me as this happened, the tears that I saw, it hurt. And the way I felt is nothing compared to the way they felt.
Following his media appearance, Cuban has agreed to donate $10 million to various women's organizations and will not face any formal punishment. Well, that's all I have for you today in sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks, Grace. It'll be exciting to see if Husker football can pick up their first win of the season on Saturday. We'll be right back with Star City News.
The Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, where you can find your next baby girl, your next Aaron, or your next furry animal companion. Each adoption comes with spaying or neutering, microchip registration, and a health exam that is included in adoption fees. So stop by the Capital Humane Society's Pylock Pet Adoption Center, located at 70th and Highway 2, to find your next furry friend.
Explore Morrill Hall, located on the UNL campus.
Established in 1970.
Welcome back to Star City News. The website Smart Asset recently released their annual rankings of the best state capitals, and Lincoln cracked the top 10. The Star City ranks 7th in this year's Power Rankings, up from 15th last year. Smart Asset compiles its rankings by looking at average income, unemployment, nightlife, and crime rates. So I'm thinking maybe our football games and the fun that comes afterward really bumped us up this year. Honolulu, of course, came in first, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, brought us up the rear.
With one last look at our weather, here's Scott Ayers. Scott, it's getting rather cloudy outside. What do you got for us going into this weekend?
Well, guys, we've got some potential storms on the way. Let's take one final look at that weather radar. As you can tell, 8:15 to 8:30 tonight, we should be seeing some storms, so make sure to be inside and be safe tonight.
All right, well, that'll do it for this episode of Star City News.
Make sure you join us Tuesday for our next installment. Until then, I'm Erin Hunter.
And I'm Ellie Chisholm. Thanks for watching, and good night.